revolution going on.
And in my opinion, the young generation of white, black, brown, whatever else there is, you're living at a time of extremism, a time of revolution.
What is it revolting against? The power structure. The American power structure? No. The French power structure? No. The English power structure? No. Then what power structure? An international Western power structure.
And I, for one, will join in with anyone, don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. And there's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with extreme methods.
So what you and I have got to do is get involved. You and I have to be right there breathing down their throat. Every time they look over their shoulder, we want them to see us.
Once those intentions are made known, we can get to the nitty-gritty of the problem. We can get to the core of the problem. We can get to the root of the problem. And then we can correct the problem.
They still exist? The thing is so secret, I'm not even sure it still exists.
This plan that goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years, tends to be kept in the bowels of these blood oath secret societies. And by that I mean the Shriners, the Freemasons, the Oddfellows, the Illuminati, the Order of the Palladian. There are literally dozens of names down throughout the centuries that this goes by. But it has to be in one of these groups where you have to swear to kill a fellow member of the society if they reveal the secrets, or you yourself be killed by a member of the society if you reveal the secrets. That's what blood oaths are. And they start out bad, but they get worse as you go up in the organization.
Their whole purpose throughout history has been to teach a small number of people how to become adept at controlling everyone else, and presenting their societies as desirable to the profane, so that you'll go knock on the door and say, hey, can I be a member? And be initiated, with the promise of learning some great secret. What is that secret? The secret is what I have just told you this morning. The secret is how to control everybody else. And you never understand how to control everybody else until you get to the top of this pyramid of initiation, most people never make it past the third step. All above that are carefully chosen and nurtured and taught.
As with all secret societies, you have levels, and if you're on the lower levels, you don't even know they're upper levels. They don't even tell you. You bump into it by accident, or someone comes along. Now, in Scottish Rite, that's something different, because they know that there's a. But before then, and basically secret societies, let's go to ancient Egypt. To the ancient Egyptians, the priest would tell the serfs, the guys that tilled the land, they would say, the sun is God, okay? And so they accepted that very low-level interpretation, all physical. That's not what the priest believed. What the priest believed, there was a second level. The priest believed that, no, the physical sun is not the supreme being. It's the spirit which flows through the physical sun that is the supreme deity. However, there was another level. And the priests didn't even know it. It was those that were involved and elevated to if I would have told you this 15 years ago, I might have gotten shot.
Weishaupt saw in the ancient orders of Freemasonry an opportunity to commission foot soldiers for his cause of world domination. He wrote that none is fitter than the 3 lower degrees of Freemasonry. The public is accustomed to it, expects little from it, and therefore takes little notice of it.
Weishaupt felt that Masonry was the easiest way to get a good Christian guy on the path of destruction, essentially, where you can have him take little baby steps on this path. It's a system they've been working on for thousands of years. They've really got it down. They know how to gradually, gently corrupt people from Christendom, first of all, to deism. Of course, deism is where, yes, God started the world, but then he took off, and he has no place in the affairs of men now. And so you don't have to worry about God, you don't have to worry about heaven and hell. You just kind of do your thing, and everything will be okay. Deism to atheism is the next step. Atheism, where you claim there is no God, and then, of course, the next step is out and out Satanism. And interestingly enough, Satanists know there's God, know there's a heaven and hell, and they just choose hell, and they choose to drag as many people into hell as they can.
The religion of Masonry, while often cloaked with Christian titles, is actually based upon the ancient mystery religion of Babylon and Egypt. These same mysteries governed the worship of Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. The mysteries are often symbolized by the all-seeing eye, sometimes called the Eye of God. But the God of Masonry is not the same as the God of the Bible. None was more adamant about this point than the man considered by many to be the most influential Mason of all time, Albert Pike.
Albert Pike was a Confederate Civil War general who was the head of American Freemasonry in the post-Civil War period. He's certainly the most important American Mason. His book, Morals and Dogma, is required reading for every Freemason.
He says on page 624, the 28th degree, Teachings of the 28th degree, he says, quote, "Masonry is identical with the ancient mysteries." Okay? And then he goes on, he says, we reproduce the speculations of the philosophers, the Kabbalists, the mystiques, and the Gnostics, unquote. Well, these were all systems, religious systems, that worshipped Lucifer.
Pike probably mistakenly reveals his true intent because he speaks of Lucifer frequently.
When he says we are identical to all the mysteries, the mysteries were all brought under God's condemnation and destroyed at one point or another in history. From the Babylonian mysteries to the Egyptian mysteries to the peoples living in the land of Canaan. When, the major reason God destroyed them, he ordered them to be killed, man and women and child. They were all worshiping Satan.
Now see, Masons distinguish between Lucifer and Satan. Masons believe that Lucifer is the light bearer, the good God, and that the Christian God is called Adonai, the evil God. They use as their justification that if the Christian God was a good God, then there wouldn't be this Garden of Eden problem where because you ate of the apple, now you have to suffer and you have to, the sweat of your brow, you have to make your living. Well, women have to give birth in pain, etc. No good father would do that to his children. So the Christian God is the evil God, where Lucifer is the good God because he'll give you everything you want. He'll fulfill your every desire.
In 1908, French occult expert Copin Albancelli wrote, "Certain Masonic societies exist which are satanic, not in the sense that the devil comes to preside at their meetings, but in that their initiates profess the cult of Lucifer. They adore him as the true God, and they are animated by an implacable hatred against the Christian God, whom they declare to be an impostor." Perhaps Albert Pike's most famous and controversial quote is this one: "The true and pure philosophic religion is the belief in Lucifer, the equal of Adonai. But Lucifer, God of light, is struggling for humanity against Adonai, the God of darkness and evil." Because of this, occult author Edith Starr Miller wrote, "Luciferian occultism controls Freemasonry." It is important to remember that the lower ranks of Masonry are largely unaware of the deception of their leaders. Master Mason Manly P. Hall, who said that when the Mason learns the mystery of his craft, the seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, also made it clear that Freemasonry is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect. Meanwhile, Albert Pike wrote in his famous Morals and Dogma that symbols are displayed to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by false interpretations. It is not intended that he shall understand them, but it is intended that he shall imagine that he shall understand them.
Their whole goal with this philosophy is to teach all men and women that the only end of life is to seek the utmost pleasure and happiness that you can get out of it, because when you die, there's nothing else. That's what they teach. That's what they want you to be. They don't want laws against sexual promiscuity. That's why they don't want families. That's why they don't want marriage. That's why they encourage homosexuality. There's a method to their madness. There's really not much method to yours, because you're operating from a place of ignorance, and until you change that, you're going to be bumbling around, bumping into each other, saying and doing the wrong things, not understanding the nature of your enemy. And if you don't understand the nature of your enemy and the weapons they use, you cannot fight that enemy. You can't fight the battle. You shouldn't even be on the battlefield. That's why you're losing the war. And don't tell me you're not, because I'm in a place of great knowledge about who's winning and who's losing this war. And I can assure you, you're losing the war. Doesn't mean it can't be turned around. But it'll never be turned around until you learn what you need to know.